Hey everybody, it's Delta Shiny Zeta here, bringing you another video in the Every Illegal Action in So-and-So series. So, I've already done a couple videos in this series, and the amount of feedback, comments that I've gotten in the first two videos have been very positive, and a lot of you want to see more, so I'm branching out beyond just CMO's Progression series and History of Yu-Gi-Oh series, of course. Now we're focusing on another big YouTuber channel known as Team APS. So as you can see, this is one of more of their recent videos, which is a structure deck theme battle, which they just named, Earth versus Wind. Specifically, it is the Invincible Fortress structure deck versus the Lord of the Storm structure deck. Both of these came out very early in Yu-Gi-Oh, in the TCG at least, when structure decks were only initially being released. So very old cards in here, but there were definitely quite a number of illegal actions in this particular video. Alright, so here we are in the duel, the first of 3 different duels. They're doing a best of 3, and they did actually go into a third duel. So just to kind of quickly count it up before I officially begin, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 illegal actions here in this video. They did catch 2 of these illegal actions, which is basically the same one but repeated twice. So for the very first illegal action, I'll play a clip eventually, but not this part here. Basically, Paul ends up attacking this monster, which is Stone Statue of the Aztecs. A very old card. All these are old, like I was saying. And luckily, they actually bring up the cards here very slightly on screen, so I can go ahead and just, showcase this here so you can see the effects. Stone Statue of the Aztecs says double any battle damage your opponent takes when they attack this monster. So what happens here? A 1600 bird face attacks Stone Statue. Supposed to take 400, but then doubled into 800. How much damage does he take? Perfect, right? He goes to 72. That's not the illegal action. But I wanted to show this just so you get to see how Stone Statue works. But if we fast forward a little bit, you'll actually see that Alec goes ahead and puts a Stone Statue in attack mode, summons Maya Interceptor Cannons, and then activates Shield and Sword. Both of these monsters have 2,000 attack each. Birdface actually is 1,600 attack, 1,600 defense. Let me just go ahead and prove that to you really quick here. As you can see, look at the stats. Alright, so that means it's a 16, 2,000, and 2,000, right? So what happens here? Well, Stone Statue ends up attacking Birdface. 2,000 versus 1,600. Paul should actually be taking 400 damage, but what happens here? Let's take a look at the life points. Goes down to 64, so he actually lost 800. Why did they do this? I think it's actually because they thought that Stone Statue always doubles any battle damage it inflicts to the opponent. That is not what Stone Statue of the Aztecs does. It only doubles the damage if a monster attacks into it. I'll just show it right here really quick. You can actually see the effect right here when they attack this monster. So that's an illegal action. Right now their calculations are wrong. Paul should have 400 more life points. Keep that in mind. The other part of these videos that I always do is the whole did it matter part. For this particular video, I'm going to hold off on these did it matter parts until the end of each duel. So I'm going to be doing it 3 different times because there were 3 different duels. Alright, the second illegal action takes place around the 12:45 mark or so. I should actually be putting this over here in the corner. I don't know why I didn't put that earlier. But I'm going to actually play this clip so you can see. But before that, I just want to show you the effect of Hysteric Party. Activate this card by discarding 1 card. Special summon as many copies of Harpy Lady as possible from your graveyard. When this face-up card leaves the field, destroy those monsters. Let's see what actually happens.
Hysteric Party. I discard a card from my hand and special summon as many Harpy Lady cards as possible from my graveyard. And if this gets removed from the field, they get destroyed.
Okay.
I'll discard Harpy Lady Sisters.
Oh no.
And I get to summon a lot of Harpies.
You do get to summon a lot of
A
Harpies.
few Harpy Ladies that you've killed. A Harpy Lady, so he's 21?
Yes.
Even younger in some countries. Another Sisters. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just stop it right there. It's clear to see where the illegal action here is, and that is that Harpy Lady Sisters is not a valid target for Hysteric Party. The card was never that good. That would have been a little crazy back in the day. I'm not saying it would have been broken by any means back then, but it would have been a lot better. But no, Hysteric Party does not special summon Harpy Lady Sisters because it does not say as many Harpy Lady cards as possible. If it said cards, Harpy Lady Sisters does work. It says copies of Harpy Lady, quote, Harpy Lady. It only special summons Harpy Lady. That's what the illegal action is, and this one is a huge one because it definitely changed the whole game, and it's hard to say if it actually mattered, which I'll mention a little bit later. But These two shouldn't be here, only these two got summoned. This Mega Rock Dragon is at 2100, keep that in mind, which would have still been able to easily attack over either of these. It can't attack over these because this thing is buffing him up by 300 points each up to 2250. So it's making it a very awkward for Alec over here, but you know, that's a big deal. This illegal action definitely influenced the duel a lot. Alright, for the next illegal action, still in duel number 1, around the 14-15 mark or so, I'm going to play this clip as well so you can see.
Switch. Alright, Harpy Lady Sisters attacks Mega Rock Dragon.
I'll activate compulsory evacuation device on that Harpy Lady Sisters.
Oh no! So now my monsters don't get the attack boost. Okay, so she's returned. Since the number of monsters changed, I won't have to attack with her at least.
Man, that sucks.
But
okay, the illegal action here is that they did not play a replay correctly. So Paul said because the number of monsters change, I won't have to attack. That is true only if the number of monsters change on the defender's side, not the attackers. That is not how a replay works. Okay, so there's actually a page of a replay on the, you can actually find this on the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom, the wiki. It's pretty easy to find it. We're going to go down here actually to where it says the cost. A replay occurs if any of the following scenarios occurs during the battle step while an attack is occurring. Number 1, the number of monsters on the turn player's opponent's side of the field changes, which basically means the defender's side changes no matter how briefly. Whether if a monster is placed on the opponent's field, an opponent's monster leaves the monster zone, or a monster switches control, etc. Number 2 is if a monster is no longer able to attack, and number 3, a monster that is attacking another monster gains the ability to attack directly due to a card effect. So that's basically all you need to know about this to provide the evidence, because it's only on the defender's side. There's a lot of examples here, and you can look through all these examples if you want to, and none of these are actual examples of what happened in the duel. So no, if we actually go back to the video, which I'll go back right now, right here, we can actually see that the defender is actually Alec because Paul's attacking. So if, you know, this one ended up attacking, so if a monster changes on the attacker's side, that's the Harpy Lady Sisters, the number of monsters, the attack is still going to go through. This thing is currently at 1950. It's at 2450 because of Aqua Cores, but with this thing removing itself, or not removing itself, you know, removing from the field because of CED, this thing drops back down to 1950 because Aqua Cores no longer buffs them up. What this means is that this 1950 attacker would then ram into this Mega Rock Dragon, and he would actually kill himself. This thing would be back in the hand, this thing would be in the graveyard, he would take an extra 150 damage, and the situation would be very troublesome for Paul at this moment. So this other illegal action, so far 2 of them have benefited Paul a lot more than the illegal action that benefited Alec of the illegal 400 extra damage calculation. Alright, so for the next illegal action, I got to provide a little bit of context. Paul actually summoned Swift Birdman Joe. When he summoned, he can actually return all spells and traps back to the hand, so he's going to bounce all back row. And it's important to know this because he ends up getting, being able to use Hysteric Party again on his next turn. He does use it again, right here, discards a card, and actually brings out the Harpy Lady Sisters again. So it's another illegal action. It's the same scenario again, but it technically is 2 different illegal actions. It was just used twice. So that's actually 3 illegal actions that benefited Paul, only 1 to Alec. And as you can see, brought a lot of monsters on the field, swarmed the field again with these powerful Harpy Lady Sisters, buffed up by Harpy Lady and Aqua Cores. Really crazy, overwhelms Alec, and he's basically done. We fast forward, there we go, see? 0 life points. Alec loses the first duel. Now that we know these 4 illegal actions, well, the big question is, did it matter? I would say it, oh my god, it almost 100% mattered, and it benefited Paul by giving him the win. So, the only illegal action that benefited Alec was the illegal calculation where Paul ended up taking 400 extra damage from that stone statue, attacking Paul. So Paul should be at 4150 life points right now. Keep that in mind. That's the only thing that benefited Alec. So let's just assume he has 4150. Now let's go to the other side of things. 2 Hysteric Parties illegal resolving, where it brought 2 extra Harpy Lady Sisters each time for a total of 4 extra Harpy Lady Sisters on the field. That's already freaking crazy because it gives so many more monster, you know, field domination for Paul and more attacks and so on and so forth. And on top of that, the other thing is the replay being illegal, that the Harpy Lady Sisters, not that, you know, if we actually think about this logically, this situation should have never happened with the, the replay, because these things shouldn't even be on the field because of Hysteric Party. But if we assume so, hypothetically speaking, that's another thing that benefited Paul as well, because this thing should have been bounced, this thing should have actually killed itself. So from all this, it's easy to see that this thing, all these illegal actions give Paul so much advantage, so Paul should have not won this duel. It's very... I can't say 100% sure, obviously, because in the end we don't know for sure, but it's like a 95 to 99% sure that yes, it definitely gave Paul the win, because there was just way too much going on, too much advantage. Alright, so moving on to the second duel. The first illegal action is around the 1805 mark or so. I'm going to actually play this clip so you can see what happens.
This turn, you will have to pitch a card from your hand. And you hit...
What did I hit? Ooh.
My stone statue of the Aztecs.
Ooh, okay.
So, like my canyon, he also doubles the battle damage.
Okay, my monster's not destroyed at least.
Yes, keep your monster.
So I take 16.
And my Robbing Goblin activates.
Okay, so...
Okay, I'll stop it right there. The illegal action is not anything to do with Robbing Goblin. That part's fine. The illegal action is once again a legal damage calculation. Now, to be fair, out of everything in this video, this is going to be the hardest one for them to have figured out, because it's a very obscure ruling and something that, in a way, you can say doesn't make sense, but it also kind of does. Let me explain. Canyon and Stone Statue are both, you know, you would think they're both going to be, you know, giving off their effects here. Stone Statue doubles the battle damage. Keep in mind that these Harpies are 1600 attack right now, because they're 13, but then this thing buffs up all wins by 300. They're each 16. So Harpy Lady attacks this, which should be 400, right? That's 16 to 2000, but then it doubles because of Stone Statue of the Aztecs. It should be 800. However, we take a look at this, 64, this 1600. Let's actually backtrack so I can show the effect of Canyon right here. If a rock type monster in defense position is attacked, double any battle damage to the controller of the attacking monster. So 800 times 2, you would think that it stacks, you know, double the damage and then double the damage here for 1600. That is not how that works. Logically speaking, I can see why they think that, but that's not how that works. Let me explain a couple things here. The short answer is that it doesn't stack. You can actually find this on forums and even the official rulings on like the wiki, when you can see OCG rulings and TCG rulings as well. But one comment kind of summed it up pretty well, but it says, to further clarify, neither Canyon nor Stone Statue activate. They both have continuous effects that set a condition where your opponent would take double the normal battle damage. That actually makes a lot of sense if you think of it like that. Now, to give you a little bit more context and more information about this in case it's still confusing, let me explain this. A more common example, because it's a more famous card in Yu-Gi-Oh, is Double Summon, which says that you can conduct 2 normal summons / threats this turn, not just 1. So once again, if you activate 2 double summons in 1 turn, can you actually normal summon 4 times this turn or 3 times this turn? The answer is no. You can still only conduct 2 normal summons in that turn if you activate 2 double summons on that same turn. That's not how these rulings work. In the same context, Stone Statue works like that too, as well as Canyon. It doesn't stack. So overall, what does this mean? This means that Paul should not have taken 1600 damage. He should have taken 800 damage. Well, that's actually it for the illegal actions in this one. We're here at the very end. Paul is down to 600. Remember that he should have 800 more. He should actually be at 1400 life points. So the big question is, did it matter in Duel 2? The short answer is no. Because in here, Alec goes ahead and flip summons a Guardian Statue, which can bounce a card, bounces this one. Then there's 2 monsters here, which, you know, obviously have a lot more attack in total than 1400 if he had his actual 1400 life points. So he would have still lost his turn anyway and been at 0, so no, second duel did not matter. However, I will say that technically speaking, the video should have been over by this point. Alec should have actually 2-0'd Paul because Paul should have lost that first duel. Okay, so the next illegal action is going to be very difficult to know if it mattered because it's really hard to see what cards they have in the hand and, you know, so on and so forth. But basically, Paul ends up activating Reckless Greed. A really good way to remember the drawback of Reckless Greed is to just put a dice on top of your deck, which he does. However, unfortunately, he activates Reload after, so he has to remove the die to actually shuffle the deck. However, he does not put the die back, and this actually really comes back to bite them later if we fast forward. And this is the one and only thing that they actually did catch. As you can see, Paul ends up drawing a card when he shouldn't have because of Reckless Greed. He should have not been able to draw for the next 2 draw phases. Then they mention this, of course, you know, like, yeah, okay, we made a mistake. And again, that's the one that they caught. That's the only one out of all the illegal actions that they did catch. So by this point, it's kind of hard to tell, because then he draws on the next turn as well for another draw. Those two cards should have never been in his hand. He should have never been able to play them. Did it matter? I would say more than likely it did. Getting 2 extra cards when he shouldn't have, that's a huge difference. But it's hard to say for sure of what would have happened because we don't know what cards he already had in the hand and so on. So it's really hard, but I will say it definitely affected the duel in some way, shape, or form. So again, there's technically 2 illegal actions because he drew twice when he shouldn't have, but you can also count that as 1 illegal action. It's up to you. Alright, for the next illegal action, it's important to understand Ectoplasmer's effect. It says, once per turn during each player's end phase, the turn player must tribute 1 face-up monster, and if they do, inflict damage to their opponent equal to half the original attack of the tributed monster. It's mandatory, and it's actually doing half the original attack of the tributed monster. Keep this in mind as I mentioned the illegal action. The other card that you need to know the effect of is Mega Rock Dragon. I actually backtracked back to the first duel for this one because they only show the card the first time that card is played on the video. But the effect says, cannot be normal summoned or set, cannot be special summoned except by removing from play a rock type monster or monsters in your graveyard. The original attack and defense of this card become the number of rock type monsters you remove from play when you special summon this card times 700. So, okay, it says original attack and defense. Keep that in mind as well. Now let's get to the illegal action. Alright, here's the illegal action. Let me play the clip.
Hurts so much. I moved to my end phase.
So, will he even deal anything to me?
Oh, I don't even know.
That's the original attack.
Great, so nothing.
So you just have to tribute it. Okay.
Alright, so there's the illegal action. They counted it as 0, that he just tributes and 0. That's not true. Mega Rock Dragon's original attack became 2800 here. I didn't put that, I didn't show that, but he actually banished 4. He's at 2800 attack. So it should have actually done 1400 damage to Paul because the original attack is 2800. It does half. It's saying original attack, so the true ruling is yes, he takes 14. He should be at 1300 life points right now, Paul. Keep that in mind. Alright, so the final legal action is one that I don't even want to mention, but if I don't mention it, I'm probably going to get a comment from some of you saying, hey, you missed this one. It's so irrelevant. Basically, at the very end, Alec is about to win here. He crashes Gigantes into Slate Warrior, and because it got destroyed by battle, it should blow up all spells and traps. They never actually removed them. They should have been blown up, and then Moai Interceptor Cannons goes for the kill and defeats Paul. It didn't matter because the duel ended that turn, you know, so whatever. And then right there, they just end the duel and that's it. So I didn't even want to mention that, and you could technically not even include this if you want to, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Anyway, the other thing that I wanted to mention though, the whole did it matter with the other one. I mean, it prolonged the duel a little bit because at this point, Paul has 350, as I mentioned. He goes down to this. Remember that he should be down an extra 1400. So this means that here in this particular turn, he should have lost the duel. He should already be, you know, at 250 here, and then that's it. He should have actually died this turn, but he didn't. Instead, it went another turn, and then he loses. So technically, it mattered in prolonging the duel an extra turn, but in the end, it didn't matter. Paul lost anyway. So overall, did these illegal actions impact this match? No, because Paul still lost the match. The majority of the illegal actions benefited Paul. As a quick little recap, the 2 illegal Hysteric Parties being activated and how they brought so much advantage to Paul. The replay illegal, you know, the way that the replay was done was also illegal there. That benefited Paul as well. The illegal Reckless Greed, which gave Paul extra draws in his third duel and he still lost. As well as the original Mega Rock Dragon doing an extra 1400, which it didn't, or you know, it was supposed to give 1400 damage, but it didn't. That also benefited Paul. The majority of the illegal actions benefited Paul so much. The ones that benefited Alec were just minor battle stuff, like, you know, the I mentioned this before, but the whole stacking of Stone Statue and Canyon, you know, that was not supposed to be a thing. Paul took extra battle damage there, as well as Stone Statue doing double the battle damage when it attacked. That's also illegal. Those things were so minor that it didn't even really matter, to be honest. So that's it for this video. As always, leave recommendations on what particular video or series I should be doing in every illegal action in. A lot of you like seeing these technicalities in Yu-Gi-Oh! And me just kind of, you know, mentioning, you know, what thing they did wrong here or there. If they did rulings wrong, as crazy and intricate as they may be, or as simple as they may be, I like doing these kinds of videos. So let me know about future videos if you want to see any more. So as always, I would like to encourage you to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those notifications if you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great day.